All right, guys, this is Mr. Gazaa, and just want to make this video, and hopefully it'll be quick, but how to use Scratch. And I'm making this so you can come back and look at it later on if you need to go over something or rewind and fast forward. Anyway, this is a Scratch website, scratch.mit.edu. When I want to make a new Scratch project, I'm going to click Create up at the top after I've signed in. All right, and if it says click to run Adobe Flash, go ahead and click it, and sometimes it just takes a second. Okay, so this is the Scratch layout. Over here is what is my output, and over here is the programming steps for my input. Now, programming might sound a little scary. You guys aren't actually typing in code or anything. It's called block programming, and some of you have already kind of seen it, but I'm going to kind of go over what we're looking at here. So over here in this area is called sprites, and sprites are characters. I can add new characters by clicking on there's a little picture down there. It looks like an elf, and I can just go through and I can say, okay, I want to add this chick in here. And so I can put her and move her around. Now to animate these guys, that is where the programming comes in. And so the background on here is also, just so you know, it's called the stage. Over here is our staged areas. I can put a new stage up, so I can click on this and just add a different stage to the background. That way there's a background there. So stage, we've got the sprites, and then we have our scripts at the top. So you can actually edit some of this stuff. So if I click on stage, I can go down to backdrop, and I can use just some simple paint tools to edit the background. Same thing for our sprites. If I want to edit a sprite, I can click on the sprite, and then I can come up here to costumes, and costumes is basically the sprite, what the sprite looks like. So I can paint on them or change them up. Anything I do on here is going to reflect on the sprite though. But that's a little more advanced. So we're going to talk about movement and animating our sprites and doing things. So the first thing you're going to do, all these different colors are called blocks, and they do different things. So, and you kind of get a feel like motion, of course, that's movement. But everything starts with an action, and that's under events. So your first block should always be one of these. And so usually it's just when the flag is clicked. That means when that thing starts, that's when the action starts. And so, and then when you want to get, if you want to get more complicated with your animation, more interactive, or you can actually create games and stuff, you can have different things. So when the space bar is clicked or something's typed in, so you can have it do different things. But I'm going to do when the green flag is clicked. And so I'm going to click on this cat sprite. And when I'm going to, now each of these have their own programming too. So the backdrop, the stage, and the sprites have their own programming. So you can see when I have the dancer, there's already something in there, but when I click the cat, there's nothing. So each one I have to tell it what to do separately. So I'm going to move this. This is I'm on the cat, and then when the flag is clicked, what I want to do is I want to have the cat move. So I'm going to have him move 10 steps. I can test it. I can click it, and he just moves. Now 10 steps is a little piece, it's a little jump. So if I want it to be bigger, I can increase that. Now if I want him, you'll notice he's moving 10 steps to the right. If I want him to move left, I got to put negative 10 steps. And there he goes. Now he just moves once. What if I want him to do something else? So these are steps in a process. So you have to think of it as steps. Now, if I put another move down here, all these steps are going to happen at one time. And so you're not going to really see much movement. So what I have to do is I have to put a pause in here. So, or it's called wait. It's under the control. I can do move 10, wait 1 second, and then move forward. So now I can see back and then forward. So you can see it moves. Okay. If you notice under the control also, there's a repeat. So there's a repeat step. There's some other stuff, and that's a little more complicated. We'll get into it later. But if I put a repeat in here, See what happens. Just keeps jumping. Now you see how it jumps at the end? It's because there's no weight at the bottom here. So it jumps right from move to this move. So if we put another weight right here, there you go. Now we have some movement. Okay, so there's other kinds of scripts too. You can have, there's a sound. So when they move right at the end, when he moves, he's gonna meow. So I can do that. Yeah, you can hear that. So you're gonna play with this to let it. So when you are creating something like an animation, you're gonna want to use this process, and that's how you can get it to say something. So I can click when he's gonna move, and then she's saying hello. That's coming from her. Now remember, it says hello for 2 seconds, so it's not. I didn't put that repeat in there, so it stops after that. I can do it forever. I can do repeat after 10. There's all kinds of different things. I can turn my character. I can point in the direction 90 degrees, so that turns. I can change the X and the Y axis. So this, you've got to think of this as a Cartesian plane in math. And if you don't know what that is or you don't remember, it's the XY coordinates. So you have your Y is up and down and your X is across. That's your Cartesian plane. So if I want to change X by 10, that means I'm going to the right because we're positive 10 to the right by 10 steps. If I want to change Y by 10, that means I'm going up 10 steps. If I do negative, down or to the left. So think of it in those terms as well when you see change X or change Y. So there's a lot of cool things you can do, and I'll see if I can show you a couple that I've kind of played with or made. So you can make kind of a user interface kind of thing, or this is kind of like it's supposed to be like a phone. So if I click here, you can see there's all kinds of different stuff. Play music. My email, my text messages. So that's one thing. Let's see. I have a game in here, and we'll do this kind of towards the further on, maybe towards the end. We'll make a game where I can actually control this with my mouse and a little sun there. I can't get bit by the cloud, and then he moves, teleports, and then he goes over here. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that eventually, but you can do that. If I click inside, what you can do, you can go look. There's all kinds of steps you can see. We probably won't get that detailed, but you can do a lot of cool stuff with Scratch. So anyway, hopefully this helps a little bit, helps you understand how Scratch works. If you have questions, you can let me know. Otherwise, this should help be a good introduction. So let me know if you don't have any questions. Otherwise, have fun.